2025 Curriculum and Technology Committee meeting. With that, I'd like to say one thing first. Pursuant to Board Policy 1B.5, all meetings of Salisbury Township School District are audio and video recorded. And with that, I'd like a Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Roll call, please.
Mr. Gaither.
Here.
Mrs. Glenister.
Here.
Mr. Ganal.
Here.
Mr. Hoffman.
Here.
Mrs. Klinger.
Here.
Mrs. McKelvey.
Here.
Mrs. Nemitz.
Here.
Mr. Riccaboni.
Here.
Mr. Spinner.
All righty. And with that, I'll turn the evening's events over to Mrs. Klinger, or do you want me to keep going on the agenda for right now?
It doesn't matter, whatever you want to do.
Okay, we'll roll right into special recognitions then.
All right. So I will get started with that. This evening we have multiple special recognitions. I'm going to grab the microphone so they can hear us on Zoom. All right, tonight we have multiple special recognitions, so wonderful to see a full house here. Thank you to everybody for being here. And tonight, as superintendent, it's my privilege to recognize a very special group of students, our AP Scholars with Honor and AP Scholars with Distinction. And you've heard us talk about AP before, Advanced Placement. This isn't just about students enrolling in challenging and rigorous courses, but it's about them committing themselves to taking college-level work, while also balancing a whole host of other responsibilities, whether it's sports, or a job, or scouts, or theater, or the arts, or other activities. They have to demonstrate not only their intelligence, but also their perseverance in being successful in these courses. Be willing to certainly push themselves out of their comfort zones. So an AP Scholar with Honor is granted to students who receive an average score of at least 3.25 on all AP exams taken and scores of 3 or higher on 4 or more of these exams. So taking multiple AP courses in a college experience in high school. So we have 4 students that we're recognizing for AP Scholar with Honors, and I'll invite them to come up, and we'll also invite you to share anything that you might like to share about what you're doing next. So giving you that moment to think about it if you'd like to share that. Beatrice Carrig. Did I say your last name right? Okay, great. Congratulations, Beatrix. Lots to be proud of. A couple more students here. Absolutely, you can clap. You can clap again, absolutely. And we should have Emerson Juha. I'm not sure if I'm saying, say it again. Uhas. Thank you, Emerson. Uhas. There you go. Congratulations, Emerson. And we have Meredith Kelly. Congratulations, Meredith. And we have Riley Nemitz, who is actually on Zoom. So congratulations to Riley.
Thank you.
All right, so we'll give each of these students, if they'd like an opportunity to just say a few words, maybe what you're doing next, maybe what AP courses meant to you, anything you might like to share with your parents and our school community.
I'm just grateful for the opportunity to take more advanced courses here at Salisbury. I'm grateful for the kids that surround me in those courses. A lot of you guys are some of my best friends. In the future, I hope to go on to study pre-law, hopefully at George Washington University in DC, and I want to become an immigration lawyer. So thank you guys.
I had a lot of fun in my AP courses. I also have a lot of my best friends in there. I just always have fun in those classes with the people I'm with. Next, I want to go study microbiology, hopefully at Penn State. and I'd like to commemorate my other members of my 4x800 district medalist team. We got a 4th place at the PIAA 2A District 11 Track and Field Championship in 2025. Good job, everyone.
Hello, I would like to thank everyone who's supported me through taking these AP exams, and I plan on studying civil engineering in the future. Okay.
And Riley, we'll open it up to you.
I've enjoyed taking the AP classes because they're a more challenging curriculum. And in the future, I'm planning on studying civil engineering.
Excellent. Thank you for being here, Riley. All right. One more question. Your favorite AP course? You can decline. You can always pass. All right.
My favorite AP course was AP Lang, and that's all because of my favorite teacher, Mrs. Ruiz. Shout out Mrs. Ruiz if you're watching. She's also my field hockey coach. I also would like to shout out the district, the District 11 champions, the Salisbury field hockey team. Congratulations to everyone on the team. I love you guys so much.
Is this favorite of all time or favorite last year?
Good choice.
I think, let's see. I think my favorite of all time would probably AP Computer Science A. It's just really interesting, and it's a good group of people in there. We have fun. I also like AP Comp Sci Principles, though, because it was also a good group of people.
I don't have a favorite.
All right. And Riley, do you have a favorite?
My favorite AP class has probably been AP Seminar, just because it's a lot of fun.
AP Seminar. All right. Thank you. You may have a seat. We're going to take a photo when I'm finished with everybody. Thank you. All right. And we have another group of students to recognize, the AP Scholars with Distinction. These students represent the highest level of sustained achievement in the program, demonstrating true excellence across a broad range of subjects. AP Scholar with Distinction is granted to students who score a 3 or higher on at least 5 AP exams and have an average score of 3.5 or higher on all exams. So we have 3 students we're recognizing here. Phoebe Ballack for AP Scholar with Distinction. There you go. Oh, I'm so sorry. Got it. Congratulations. And we have Rafael Carpo. Congratulations. And we have Soledad Lausch. Congratulations, Soledad. All right, same story. Would you like to share anything?
Sure. I'm really grateful that we have the opportunity to take AP classes at Salisbury. I know we had some issues a couple years ago, like running classes, and our grade kind of organized to make sure all those classes ran. And we've definitely had a great experience in those AP classes. So I hope they continue to be offered to grades in the future, and just have that. I'm in the future. I'm committed to Smith College, where I'll be continuing swimming and majoring in government on the pre-law track.
Yeah, so AP is a very distinctly important program in high school. It's a very unique opportunity for kids, for all self-motivated kids to attain college credit and see what it's really like in a college course. And I think that every kid should take the chance to, or at least take one throughout their high school career. I guess in the future, I'm undecided between either pursuing a business, or not a business degree, an engineering degree or a biochem degree on a pre-med path, probably at Lehigh University.
I agree with Phoebe. I'm really grateful that we got all of these courses to run in the past 2 years. They're totally worth it. Totally recommend taking at least one, because they're just I don't know, they're different. They're so much fun. And I love College Board. I plan to major in international relations and economics, but I don't know where yet. My favorite class is probably AP Seminar because I love Mrs. Newman, but she's not here right now, so.
I'd have to say AP Seminar as well, mostly because it's a very productive class that we always do work in.
Not to continue the AP Seminar love train, but I do love AP Seminar, so I will be saying that's my favorite for now.
I feel like there's a private joke there somewhere. I'm not sure where, though. All right, congratulations to all of you, and thank you so much. So the students have certainly set a powerful example for all of our learners across the district and throughout the high school at Salisbury, and we're certainly very proud of the efforts and their achievements. But I also want to recognize the people that are behind you, so all of you here tonight, your teachers, your friends, your sports teammates or activity teammates, the teachers who provide that rigorous instruction for you, and thinking about all those late night conversations that maybe you had with families or the car rides or the stressful moments or the prepping for the test, and recognizing that support that you received along the way. So thank you also to our families. On behalf of the board and our administration, as well as Dr. Morningstar and Mrs. Brennan, we want to congratulate you on your achievements and invite you out to have a photo taken for the Salisbury Press. And maybe somebody can grab me one for the community update out there too, please.
Can I make a quick comment, Mrs.?
Sure.
So first of all, I did want to point out that 5 out of the 7 are, in fact, Salisbury swimmers. So, yes.
So you want to make a shout out?
But I also do want to say, as a high school teacher and as somebody who also took a bunch of AP classes, the students are right. And they haven't gone to college yet, but I have. It is by far the best preparation you have for college. Not to throw dual enrollment under the bus, but AP is the premier preparation. You guys are going to be ready, right? And you're going to have some flexibility in your schedule. I picked up some minors, just because I had space. So congratulations to you guys.
Oh, we didn't have that.
Caller. Ms. Oswald, can you please head on up? We have our next item on the agenda is service recognition, and we have one this evening. We can ask an AP student to show you how to use that if you'd like.
Did you know that I wasn't an AP student? Now.
It is my pleasure to recognize Mrs. Angela Mosey for her dedication as an advisor in the Salisbury Township School District. So I'm going to first ask Angela to come up here. Angela has poured her energy, love, and music into our students since 2008. She has served as our high school band director, high school and middle school concert band director, middle school chorus director, and elementary chorus director. Angela's hard work and dedication has not only shaped our music program, but the confidence and joy of countless students. She has set a foundation of excellence for our music program and has created a space where students feel valued and capable. Thank you, Angela, for your dedication and passion you have brought to every rehearsal and performance. Angela's name has been added to the perpetual plaque, which remains in the administration building. Congratulations.
I put some notes in my phone.
So we have a couple items for you, too.
Oh, thanks.
You have to get your photo with that.
Sure. Thank you.
And a Salisbury polo, and then just so everybody can see the plaque.
Oh, thank you, everybody. Oh, my goodness.
Great.
And while Lynn's showing that off, I'd just like to thank the school board for taking time to recognize my service in this position. It's really a surprise to me and an honor because I just do what needs to get done and enjoy doing it. I love helping the kids grow as musicians and working with the marching band and collaborating with the twirling program and the cheerleading program and athletics and parents and also athletics. It's just really been a pleasure, and I wish everybody continued success in marching band. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Up next, we have our student representative reports. So I'd ask, we'll start with the high school, and we'll go from there. Is it not working?
The light's on. Okay, all right, I got it. Okay. All right. Good evening. I'm Edward Ballack. I'm a junior, and this is the report. Salisbury Winter Sports began this past week on November 13th. We look forward to supporting our athletes this winter. The National Honor Society Blood Drive through Miller Keystone Blood Center took place on November 11th for students and faculty age 16 plus, as well as the community. Salisbury Theater performed Harvey on the weekend of November 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th. The theater also hosted auditions for the spring musical The Prom this week on the 17th and 18th. Students in American Cultures 1 took a field trip to Gettysburg yesterday, the 18th. The trip provided an opportunity for students to learn more about the Civil War and the Battle of Gettysburg. Students in the Stars Club will take a trip on Thursday the 20th to Catasauqua High School for a Healthy Living Expo. This promotes STAR's goal of students taking active roles against drugs and alcohol. Salisbury High School will begin fall break on Wednesday, November 26th. Happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you. Do we have a representative from LCTI this evening? Okay. Well, then we will move on to the middle school. Our board member who's normally in charge of AV is actually remote tonight, so she's...
Can you assist?
I'm really sorry.
No worries, yeah.
Talk into it and see if it works.
Hello.
There we go.
Good evening. My name is Eden Klosik. I'm in 8th grade, and I'm the president of Student Council at Salisbury Middle School.
Good evening. My name is Laura. I'm in 8th grade, and I'm a member of the Student Council at the middle school.
Recently, lots of exciting things have happened. The 7th graders recently took a field trip down to Kutztown University to see Jordan Sonnenblick, the author of the novel they are reading in ELA, Drums, Girls, and Dangerous Pie. During the visit, he spoke about his writing process and the inspiration behind the book. Students also participated in a meet and greet where they were able to ask questions, take pictures, and have their books signed. Their experience helped them deepen their understanding of the novel and gave them a first-hand look at the life of an author.
Some students from various grade levels visited Citizens Big Park as a reward for their participation in the annual school-wide fundraiser. Those who raised sufficient funds enjoyed a day off to tour the stadium, learn about the team, explore the dugout, and see behind-the-scenes operations.
Earlier this month, the 8th graders also took part in Education, where they learned basic skills of skiing and snowboarding. Students practiced important abilities like agility, balance, focus, and proper stance. Overall, it was both a fun and informative experience.
Next Tuesday, the entire school will participate in the annual turkey trot held before the Thanksgiving break. Students will have the opportunity to walk or run a 1-mile course around the middle school and conclude the event with hot chocolate or apple cider. Prior to the turkey trot, students were assigned an IXL Fall Power-Up to complete within a designated time frame. The first 20 students in each grade to finish the assignment will receive a donut at the end of the course. All power-ups must be completed by this Friday, November 21st.
Recently, our 8th graders also took an exciting trip to LCTI, where they got to tour the entire campus and explore different career programs. Students walked through areas like engineering, culinary arts, healthcare, technology, and many others, seeing real hands-on projects happening right in front of them. They met instructors, asked questions, and learned about the classes and opportunities we can choose in high school. The trip helped everyone get a better idea of future career paths, and the 8th graders left feeling inspired and excited about what's ahead.
We are so happy to share with you all the amazing things happening in our school lately.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you for that. And then last but not least, we have Salisbury Elementary, Lucy and Melissa.
Good evening. My name's Melissa Weiner.
And my name is Lucy Pascal, and we are both in 4th grade.
The fire prevention assemblies were held on October 15th and 16th. We thank our volunteer firefighters who visit SES to present to the students. The students enjoyed seeing the fire trucks. Friday, October 17th, 4th grade went to South Mount Preserve for their field trip. They enjoyed the hike and being out in nature. Kindergarten went on their field trip to Valley Fruits and Veggies on October 20th. They enjoyed picking pumpkins and visiting the farm.
The book character parade was held on October 24th to start off our Book Fair week. Our staff did a great job dressing up as their favorite book character. Students enjoyed shopping for books during their normal library day. November 11th was our Veterans Day celebration. We invited veterans to SES for a special breakfast. After breakfast, they lined the walkway outside to welcome students to school. Upcoming events. Parent-teacher conferences start on November 24th. The students will have an early dismissal that day. November 25th, the school is closed for students. Teachers will hold parent conferences during the day.
School is closed for fall break November 26th to December 1st. Thank you for your time.
She was not kidding.
I think that was the most excited crowd we've ever had in this room.
They are ours, and I'm not going to apologize.
You shouldn't apologize for it. I wish we'd have that more often. People don't really cheer for when we go over budgets and stuff like that, so it is what it is. Alrighty, with that said, we'll move into the meat of the meeting, and Mrs. Klinger, I'll ask you to take over from here on out.
Okay, good evening, everybody. We have 3 agenda items this evening, and we're going to start with...
Actually, before we get started here, it is a school night, so I understand if you all want to take off, or if you'd like to sit for the rest of the meeting and cheer us on. I greatly appreciate it.
And is there a gift for them?
Yeah, please grab a bag on the way. There's something there for students to grab on the way out.
Thank you to the teachers and parents and guardians who came. I appreciate that.
I think Meredith has to stay. No, I'm joking. Meredith, I was only joking. You can go if you want.
I'm just staying for a little.
Okay.
Okay, I think we can start now. We're going to start with a demographic summary, and Mrs. Pauling will take the lead on that.
So good evening. Every year we offer a look back at last year's demographics and a preview of this year's demographics, just to give us an idea of where we are and who we serve. We tried a new format this year. We tried to jazz it up. But at the end of the day, it's still tables with numbers. So last year, 24-25 school year, we had 1,501 students, and that includes students who are placed outside the district. As you know, that sometimes the needs of students demand a different placement than here at Salisbury. That might be an IU or another program that we determine is in the best interest of the child. So that includes that number. And then you can see the breakdown
frankly, most of the numbers are pretty stable. There wasn't a whole lot of movement from last year, which is kind of the first time I think we've seen this much continuity for a while. You know, they're all hovering around the same percentages that they did last year. A slight increase maybe in Hispanic by, you know, 1.2% difference. So I thought that was interesting to note, just that it has been changing more rapidly previously. Economically disadvantaged, we had 40%. Now that looks like a sharp decline, because in the 23-24 school year, if you notice, we were over 50% free and reduced lunch. So there's a calculation that's different. It doesn't really mean that we have, I know this is the way the state demands we report things, but actually this doesn't actually mean we have fewer economically disadvantaged students. With participation in the community CEP, I forget what the E stands for. Eligibility, there you go. Community eligibility provision, where we offer free breakfast and lunch to all students. Because of that, they don't fill out the paperwork for free and reduced lunch. We use other metrics, direct certification for benefits that are received, but that really only kind of represents our free students, not the reduced. So there's actually a multiplier of 1.6 that we use for all federal grants. And when you look at that 1.6, it's actually closer to 60 some percent. So just to know, we still have to, in PIMS, when we upload data, it's attributed to a specific individual, all of these characteristics. So we can't just make up 1.6. So that's why it's a difference. Our English language learners, again, very stable at 88. And you can see the breakdown by each school. Gifted, a percentage point difference. Sorry, I was looking at the wrong line. Learning support went down slightly, but a percentage point. A slight increase to emotional support, and gifted, again, very similar to last year, 3.5 versus 3.3, and the same with autistic support. We did open another program at the middle school, so we do have a few more students, but it didn't really change the overall percentage.
For autistic support, and I've asked this question before, and I know, our program is relatively new in-house. Are we having kids move out of autistic support to less restrictive placements?
So if you mean by move out where they're not in autistic support at all, or where they're included more?
Included more, their percentages go up, or moved into maybe some sort of out of autistic support entirely into something else,
I don't know that we've had any students move entirely out of autistic support, but we certainly have had students that have increased their time in regular ed.
Is there any way I could get a statistic on that? I know there's privacy issues, so I obviously don't want to violate that. If there's any way you could give me a sense of that in the, I'm not.
I can give you a sense. I'm looking at a spreadsheet, so I'm looking at actual students, changes in percentage of time in regular ed, looking at a student who's 54%, looking at a student, a couple of students who are 0%, a student who was 54, looking at a student who went, actually decreased some time, so started at 92 and then decreased some time, looking at a student who went from 0 to 40%, 15%, 64%, looking at a student who is, this is 24-25 data too, not 25-26. 80, I'm sorry, that's a 64%, 68%, 0%. So it's very individualized to students' needs. Mm-hmm. And, the team is always looking at whether or not students can increase their time in regular ed or gen ed. Here's another one, 16 to 24%, 12 to 16. So it's pretty it's pretty varied, which you would expect, right? You would expect it to be individualized.
Is there any fluidity between the learning support group, the emotional support group, and autistic support? Because it looks like if you add them together as a cohort, it stays roughly the same percentage, and maybe as we learn more about autism and individual students, it helps organize and give more targeted support.
So I'm not sure exactly, do you mean, do kids go from autistic support to emotional support to learning support? Is that what you mean by fluidity?
More so maybe learning support, emotional support, and then as we understand individual needs better, is that how we help screen and provide that support?
Yeah, I'm trying to think of like individual cases of kids who have gone from one to the other. I mean, there are, it's an IEP team decision where the student would be placed, and it doesn't matter the diagnosis. It's really about what the student needs. So there could be a situation where a student would go from autistic support to learning support or autistic support to emotional support, but it's not really like a progression that you go from here to here to here. It's really about this is the whole child, this is the child's needs, this is what the team thinks the child needs, and this is the best programming for the child.
Sure. No, I'm just excited because it looks like as a grouping, the number's relatively the same, and then with targeted help, the individual need, it looks like we're doing that through the autistic support.
Yeah, and sometimes some of the autistic support, those percentages I read are times where students are going into regular ed, so it might, or gen ed, or with their gen ed peers, it could be lunch, it could be recess, it could be a special, it could be a morning meeting. So it's it's very diverse based on students' needs and the support they need in the gen ed population as well. And the goal is to get them as much as you can into that population.
Awesome. Oh, that's great.
Would it be possible at some point for me to see I'd like to see what they're doing in middle school. It's a little complicated with my schedule now, but would it be possible for me to observe sometime in the future? Just to see what's
Visit the autistic support classroom? Sure.
Yeah, in the middle school. Yeah, because I've seen the one in the elementary school, so I have a sense there. But yeah, I'd just love to see what they're doing in there.
Yeah, we can open that invitation to the board if anyone would like to visit the classroom.
Yeah, I'll send you an email.
I think there's some wins here with student mobility. We are, sorry. Well, it did go up a little slightly, but if you look at like 22, 23, it was quite high. And so anything that's taking it in that direction, 19, 20, it was 24%. So we'd like to see it lower, but it's not terrible.
Before you go to the next one, I'm just looking at the spreadsheet and I realize that I failed to mention it could also be math or ELA or science that students are in. And that's a pretty important piece of distinction. Thank you. Or writing, I actually see that here too.
Nope. Okay, charter schools. So every year we give you an idea of how many homeschooled and charter school enrollments we have. So this year we have 178, which is an increase over last year, pretty substantial increase over last year. And then we have a breakdown between cyber and brick and mortar charter schools. So 48 for cyber and 130 for brick and mortar.
So personally, and I understand this has to be a board ask, not a Laura ask, but I really would like to understand this better. I feel like I understand it kind of generally, but not very specifically. Why are kids choosing charter schools? Why, what trends do we see either within a year or from year to year? Because it's costing us, $3.5, $4 million a year at this point. And 10%'s a big number. Like that's a lot of kids. And I know that the administration has made some efforts, and you don't know what's going to work until you try it. So is there any way that, I am proposing that we request, kind of a report on what's going on there, more of a deep dive into statistics and reasons.
And I'm happy to share some reasons. We do track the kids who leave. Mm-hmm. So last year, and we met on it maybe once a month, but last year I should have brought readers. Do you have your readers? It's so small. I printed it. It's so small. Thank you. Thank you, Joe. Last year, we tracked 15 students. These are strange. This is, I don't know what that is.
What are those?
No, that's worse. Let me have those. Thank you.
It's connected.
Yeah, I see that. Thank you. I appreciate it. Beggars can't be choosers. All right, so last year we had 15 students, and either the disenrollment administrative assistant asks a question. Sometimes parents don't even disenroll, they just enroll somewhere else. So sometimes we don't get any data. An administrator will call and just say, is there anything else that you can share with us in the interest of trying to improve our programming? In 24-25, we had 15 withdrawals. The answers people gave were a peer group, mental health, attendance, a personality conflict, a residency issue, wanted a child to stay in schools consistently while they sought a new residence, left to attend Job Corps, moved, and a drug offense. So there were 15 students and additionally 4 people who didn't respond to our request. So it's pretty diverse in terms of why people are leaving. So far this year we've had, and this goes to like August, right, to now, we've had 2 for attendance, 2 for curriculum or program, somebody wanted more arts, 3 for unknown, 1 for couldn't come to school on time, 1 for went to a cyber because there were fewer credits to graduate, 1 a sibling was in charter, 2 did not like the high school, and 1 did not like coming to school. So again, pretty different reasons for satisfaction.
How many elementary kids that are currently in charters, and I understand you may not know this off the top of your head, started in a charter school rather than left? I mean, I can see the
that I would have to look it up. And we only I have 3 really good years of data that we started tracking. So I can go back 3 years, but I did not have time to do that today.
And do we talk to those parents? Because I know it's a little bit different when they disenroll, right? We already had a contact there. But if the family is opting for charter school to begin with, that could definitely be a different set of reasons than somebody who withdraws.
Yeah, and I think it's a good point. So we have sent mailers and asked people to call us. We don't get a lot of communication. I think the elementary school did get a couple of families back when Zach and Brian went door to door to talk to families.
Thank you for doing that. That's awesome. I mean, seriously, we need to know, right? So we can be more attractive.
Yeah. So I lost my train of thought. I'm sorry. Kindergarten. So I don't really know. That would take more time because we literally have to look up each kid and their bills and what we paid.
Yeah. And I mean, it's just, because that is a different subset, like motivations are different across grades.
And just on, one other piece of data, we had 11 students re-enroll here who were in cyber charter or charter this year so far between August and really they're all August and September. But this data goes to November 1.
That actually brings up another question. Sorry. Do we see... I'm trying to think of how to phrase this. If we see a kid either go to a charter school or even say move into the district when they were in a charter school, do we see more move back percentage-wise from cyber versus brick and mortar or not necessarily? You know what I'm saying? Is there greater discontentment with one versus the other?
I have a gut feeling, but I don't have numbers to back it up.
Fair. I know I threw it on you.
And the reason I have a gut feeling is because I see I'm copied on every enrollment and disenrollment. So when I open it, I can see cyber charter. And then at that point, I reach out to the building leader and say, what's the story? And most of the time they are able to communicate what happened or why the parent or child were left, and if not, somebody follows up. So that's how we've sort of been really tracking and trying to understand.
Okay.
Quick question. You said that you try to interview people who leave and go to another school, right? What about, do you do the same for people coming back in? Why did they leave the charter to make that comparison that you know, you got all the reasons
Yeah.
why.
It's actually a really good idea.
Yeah, sometimes it's peer groups, sometimes they've met kids in activities and they want to come back. It's a variety of things. You know, we actually had somebody who took a tour, just came in, took a tour, and then saw the library and was like, I'm coming, like, you know, so. But we've been intentional about sending things out to try to get people to come in and see the school, because we do have a lot to offer. And flip side, if somebody really wants to investigate the arts, we can't offer what the Arts Academy can offer. Attendance and graduation credits are a big difference. The school that the child went to, we required 26.5 credits, and that school required 21.5, I believe. So that's a big difference when you're looking at graduating or not graduating. It's a very complex challenge. I do think remember I said we're getting new school code and they were negotiating it? Well, there's language in the school code about cyber charter and attendance, and students not being able to move when they have an attendance issue to just go somewhere else. So I think that's probably gonna help us in terms of maintaining students and meeting their educational needs too.
Are our graduation credit requirements commensurate with surrounding districts?
They're similar.
Okay.
We looked at that quite some time ago.
The balance is homeschools. We have 30 students currently being homeschooled by their parent or guardian. And this is a look at our current enrollment. We're up slightly from last year at 1535. And we currently have, the ODD again is the out-of-district placements. So you can see that, across grade levels, we have a few at each level. And if anybody would like to learn more about, demographics, the district, you can go to the Future Ready PA Index. That is a website that's updated once a year. So it was just updated with the 24-25 data. You can see each of the schools, a breakdown at each of the schools, and more information on achievement and other information about the district.
Kelly, I'm sorry, can we go back to slide 9?
Yeah, sure.
Do we have any, this seemed to happen when I was here, in high school, the enrollment jumps up dramatically. Do we have any idea why? Is that kids who attended private school coming in that were in the district?
There are some of the private schools in the area that only go to 8th grade.
Okay.
So we see some enrollments then. We also see some enrollments because of sports and other things that kids want to participate in, that they come. But yeah, typically our high school, the middle school, it usually goes up a little bit. Like we see some transition, especially in 5th grade usually, and then again in 9th grade.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, Carol, back to you.
Okay. Thank you, Kelly. This is your night tonight. We're moving on to the state testing summary, and Kelly will take that also.
Well, we're going to invite, the principals are here too, Carol, Mr. Brem and Mr. Parliament. So we'll have the elementary first.
Good evening, everybody.
Hello, Zach.
All right, so I just wanted to, before we get into the data and showing you some of the charts and tables for the assessment results, just share our process that we go through at the elementary level and some of the sources of data that we utilize when we're looking at information. So, of course, we have the PSSA scores. We assess in English language arts and math. As a reminder, science has now transitioned to 5th grade. the first assessed year as a result of the change of standards in science. We also take a look at PVAS, which measures growth of students and cohorts of students in comparison with other students that are in the same grade level that started at the same benchmark year in third grade, and kind of measuring the growth that they've made year after year, which is a huge indicator of success when we look at that information with our teachers. We have the FAST benchmark assessments and progress monitoring data. In addition to that, we also utilize diagnostic assessments as well. So any students who come up as at risk, our reading specialist or our math, our comprehensive support teacher, Mrs. Kasachin, will administer a diagnostic assessment to have a better picture of what skills students still need to develop. We are using curriculum-based assessments in ZERN, which is our math program, Wit and Wisdom for English Language Arts. Foundations, which is now U-Fly Foundations, is what we're piloting in kindergarten through second grade, which also has some assessments as well. We also have behavioral data through our student success team, through individual positive behavior support plans, or through our data tracking when it comes to typical office referrals for misbehavior. We also have demographics, which was just shared, and then also information shared by parents, which is crucial to the success of students, which is a big part of those student success team meetings.
We're very grateful for Lincoln and the data warehouse, because for some of this data, you can see we're swimming in it, and unless you have a way to kind of quickly organize it, it's out of date before you can really utilize it.
So this slide here is showing on the left-hand side is English Language Arts and Literature, so ELA, and on the right is math. The top row is the percent proficient or advanced in English Language Arts, and you'll see we're at 57.4% right now, compared then to the state average, which is 49%, almost 50%. In mathematics, we're at 55.5%. compared to the statewide average of 41.7%. And I'll dig into some more of this information in more detail as we progress through. So I'd like to highlight some strengths here. Our elementary school is a little over 8.5% above the state average for English Language Arts, despite a reduction in third grade specifically this past school year. All students met the standard for demonstrating growth, so that's PVAS, so where those students started versus where they ended up this school year. They grew at a rate either equal to or exceeding other students in the state of Pennsylvania where they started, which is huge. We saw more growth in our cohorts of students in grades 3 and 4 this past year than we have in the past as well. Some of the challenges is our proficient and advanced was slightly lower this school year overall, which mostly attributed to the third grade cohort of students, first time that they took the assessment. And I will say, each cohort is different. That establishes the baseline for student growth. So we're hoping to see that growth again with those students this year in fourth grade. We also, if you take a look at our ELLs and our special ed population of students, they scored, fewer students scored proficient or advanced when they're compared to the all-student group, which is no surprise really, because they are not at grade level standards and they're taking a test that measures what is taught in that grade level. However, I will share some highlights with those two specific groups of students. That is great to see. This looks like a DNA strand that is untwined. Not to confuse you, each one of those lines on this grid represents a different subgroup of students. I would like to point out the line on the bottom, which we see went really low in 23-24, which had an abrupt uptick there. That is our English language learners. So really happy to see that. And I'll have more specific numbers there as well.
What is combined ethnicity, and how does that differ from two or more races?
That's a good question.
I don't think, I'm not sure it does. I think it just it starts 1 year and then
They
picks up.
changed,
the
they
definition.
changed, it was combined ethnicity, and now it's two or more, or opposite, I can't remember which, but they changed how they define it.
Okay, that's confusing, but okay, not your fault. Yeah.
No, these are all
Thank you,
graphs
Kelly.
for future ready.
So this is a chart from Linkit. This is involved, so I'm going to take an opportunity to share this with you, so that way you have an understanding of each of the columns and each of the rows. So if you take a look at the first row, that is all third grade assessment data for the past 5 years. Okay, so starting with the 2020 school year, and the number of students that took the assessment is in the first column, so the number of students. And you'll see in 2020, 2021, there were 78 students who took the assessment, versus now in 24, 25, up to 94. The immediate next column is a percentage of students who scored below basic. Ultimately, what we're looking for here is for that number to go down, which it has been. So we started at 18%, we're now down to 12% there. Basic, again, same thing. Where we want our numbers to grow is in proficient and advanced as well. So the third grade cohort last year, if you look at the last two columns, the first column, which is green, which is proficient and advanced, that's the percentage of students in third grade that scored proficient and advanced. The number to the right, the percentage to the right, indicates the change. So if we had more kids who scored proficient or advanced, you'll see the number change to green, meaning that that percentage of students more scored proficient and advanced. If it's red, that means that percentage of students less. And then the last column is below basic. So ultimately here you want to see that number go down. So if it does go down, if it's a negative number, you'll see it's highlighted in green. And again, there you can see the below basic numbers going down. The next row is fourth grade. It's the same exact information, just for a different grade level. And then you can see the numbers decreasing in below basic and our numbers increasing in advanced, which is great to see as well. And then the last row, which is highlighted in purple, is third and fourth grades combined. So that's the information overall. So between 23-24 and the 24-25 school year, there was a 5% reduction in proficient and advanced in English language arts. And there was also a reduction in below basic as well. I'm going to shift gears now and go to math. Our elementary school is 13% above the state average for math. Our proficient and advanced has increased 11% over the past 4 years, so kudos to our staff. We've received the highest score that we have so far in fourth grade. So this is the highest score that they've received in the past 5 years, even pre-pandemic. So that's excellent to see. And all of our students met the standard for demonstrating growth here as well when it comes to PVOS. Some challenges, again, fewer of our English language learners and special education students scored proficient and or advanced when compared to the all-student group. Again, not a surprise there. And then our third grade cohort, proficient and advanced, was just reduced by 1% this school year. So kind of holding their ground there as far as math performance goes. Again, this is the same chart that I showed you for English language arts, but this is for mathematics.
The red dotted line here through the middle is the state average. So you can see that we have our all student group is here, and then they get into demographics. This is white, and then down here, the orange is Hispanic. And then you have your English learners and students with disabilities is green. One of the things to note is pre-pandemic, look how far apart all the dots are. And what we're seeing over time is those dots coming more closely together, which to me, you remember these are different students, different years. Okay, sorry. Different students, different years. So, you know, one group of kids going really high or really low isn't that much of a concern. But when you see this trend over 5 years, then some of the things that the staff has implemented are clearly benefiting our students.
I do think it's important to point out, too, that they're just, for myriad reasons, some groups of kids that just consistently perform better, and you can follow it year to year to year, seeing them perform better, and some that just perform worse. And you're right that, taking 1 year in isolation is a little tough, but the trend is the good sign.
Yeah.
And that's why PVOS is important.
And I was just going to say that's why PVOS is helpful, because we want to make sure our advanced learners are growing as well. We want to make sure everybody's growing. So that really helps you with looking at the cohort as a whole.
Okay, so this chart is very similar to the ELA chart, just has to do with math. I'm just going to highlight fourth grade here, and I want to point out the below basic column. So you will see the reduction there of students between last year and this year. There's a 10% reduction of students who scored below basic, which is excellent, which helped increase our students who are proficient in advanced. So ultimately, we want to see students shifting from below basic and basic to the proficient and advanced categories.
And I would also say the advanced category here is also growing. That's a nice jump there as well. And as Zach said, this is our fourth grade. This is 2 years in a row they've done best they've ever had. So, last year was a great year in terms of their personal bests, our personal best with fourth grade, and they did it again this year, which is really exciting.
So earlier in the presentation, I shared that I wanted to point out some highlights. So fourth grade demonstrated above expected growth, which we just saw on that last slide. I do want to point out students with disabilities, there was significant growth since the 2018-19 school year. So we went from 22.5% to now 37.5% proficient and advanced.
And just to make sure, these are just kids taking the PSSA, not including the ones that take the PASA, right?
That I would have to check, because there's certain reports where when you click the drop down, it's PSSA and PASA, and others where it's specific to PSSA.
Okay.
So that I would have to check.
Okay.
Yep. As far as math goes, again, this is the 5th year of consecutive math improvement for students with disabilities as well, from 16% to 35.5%, almost 36% proficient and advanced. So it's clear that the practices that we have in place are having an impact for the positive of our students who typically score less likely to score proficient and advanced on the assessment. And then we had significant growth for our English language learners. We're 4.5%, a little more than that, scored proficient and advanced in the 23-24 school year versus last year, which is almost 36%. Just wanted to share some theories of action with you as well. Whereas we have greater numbers of ELs and not necessarily an increased population of special students with special needs. However, their needs vary and may be more elevated needs or specific needs as well. We're always taking a look at the pacing of our curriculum and how it fits into our schedule. There was many conversations at the start of the school year when we were looking at this data with teams to say, like, what should we focus on when we're looking at this data? What are some areas of need? Some of those that came up for discussion were money, time, and measurement, specifically in grades 3 and 4. And then also those conversations carry over to previous grades as well when we're looking at vertical alignment of curriculum. Shifting to curriculum, we are now piloting UFly Foundations in kindergarten through 2nd grade. If you remember, 1st grade piloted that last year, and word spread quickly of how students were improving their skills when it comes to phonemic awareness. So kindergarten and 2nd grade are now utilizing that resource as well. We're always looking at the pacing of our curriculum, building number sense and background knowledge, and we're in year one of implementing our math plan. So we've been sending a number of teachers to professional development, specifically related to math. Text-dependent analysis, I know you've heard that language before. It starts in 4th grade. It's 25% of the PSSA and the score on the PSSA. The IU is offering a training specific to text-dependent analysis, and I've chosen to send the entire 4th grade team to that training. Difficult to get subs, but well worth it, especially the conversation that they're engaged with other school districts and specialists in this area. Time is always an issue. I would love to be able to add more time into the school day, so we had more time, intervention time available for math.
Careful
as
what
well.
you wish for.
I know, I know that we would love to be able to mimic the same thing that we're doing with English language arts with all hands on deck, but due to human resources, it's just not possible, and there's not enough time in the instructional day. So some of our next steps here is to look specifically at Tier 2 and Tier 3 interventions in our multi-tiered system of supports. Ongoing progress monitoring and diagnostic assessments. We're utilizing class-wide interventions, so focusing on the Tier 1 level to make sure that we're meeting the needs of students. Staff, the feedback from all hands on deck from parents and staff has been really positive, so continuing with that. We've connected with great minds to provide coaching for our teachers when it comes to wit and wisdom and the implementation of that. We just had a call with the University of Florida as well for the implementation of UFly in K through 2. And also refining our phonics instruction in kindergarten through 2nd grade as well.
We have a patent grant that we were selected. It was a competitive process, but unfortunately, a lot of those activities were on hold until the state budget was resolved. So now that the state budget is resolved, we hope to get that process rolling, and that's really about helping us to integrate our academics and our behavioral MTSS systems so that we can function as efficiently as possible with the resources we have. Thanks, Zach, and thank you and Brian for all your leadership and all that the teachers are doing to help us continue progress.
Thank you.
Now we get to switch to Mr. Parliament at the middle school.
Would you also like to lengthen the school day?
I think I'm good with it. The only major, we won't go through everything, but the major differences between middle school and elementary are our data assessment tools. So I think Zach uses FastBridge at the elementary. We use IXL for our benchmarking and for our diagnostic program at the middle school. And also we have a teaming model at the middle school. So our teams are asked to meet and analyze data and to look at that on a quarterly basis at least, and even more frequently for different assessment pieces.
I do want to say I've been receiving IXL-related emails from my 6th graders teacher, and I definitely appreciate that, they're ideally 6th graders would be, doing their stuff independently without parental pressure, but I'm glad that, she's taken the step to do that so that we can make sure everybody's keeping up with that. So just sharing my appreciation. Thanks.
So this chart's very similar to Zach's. You'll see that it's been very consistent, and this graph here, you'll see it's the percent of proficient for E and ELA building wide, right? So you might see a slight dip at the end, and I think we dig deeper into that then and look at what pieces within the building or what areas within our data have caused that dip, and then trying to address those as we go. But it's been pretty consistent throughout.
So this is a composite of all of the PSSA tests given at the middle school. It doesn't reflect any one grade level, it's a composite. So that's why it's important that we disaggregate that data to identify areas that are opportunities for us.
And again, you'll see that for ELA, if you look at the right column again, we've been making some really good gains. And another graph that'll come up later will just show that We're doing a good job with growth within the building, within ELA and in math. On the below basic category, you'll see most of them are in green, which means that we're moving kids out of below basic and into basic and shifting categories. So we're making progress in ELA. So here, ELA is on the left and math is on the right. This is our proficient and advanced goal from the state and how we compare it to the state average. In ELA, we're still above the state average by a few percent, but it will say that all student groups, just like you saw in the last one, have not made or met the interim goal that they set for them. In math, we're still below the state average. We're at 33% building-wide and at 41.7%, but are making significant gains. When you look at the next chart, you'll see that we're doing really well with our growth. Again, what we do then is we look at what's working in certain areas and what's working in not working in others, and have a lot of conversation within teams and between teachers, and try to identify what's been working for us and try to replicate that in different areas. So some of our strengths, all grades were above the state average for percentage and proficient. We exceeded the state growth standard and growth average, and also school-wide, we were above the statewide average for proficient and advanced. Challenges is that not all student groups did meet the interim goals. We have to go back and look at and see if there are any interventions we can put in place to help those individual student groups, make the growth that they need to make as well. In math, we have 5th grade and 7th grade. We're above the state standards this year for proficient and advanced. All students met or exceeded the growth standard, and we're above the academic standard and state average. Our challenges this year were 6th and 8th grade still remain below the state average. So we are digging into that a little bit more to see how we can get that ramped up moving forward. So next steps. We have a liaison, we have 2 liaisons within the building, ELA and math liaison, that really work hard to make sure that we're establishing consistency from year to year, and determining what's working, analyzing the data with us so we can share it with the teams, putting forth different activities to make sure that we're prepared and kids are getting exposure to PSSA type questions and more challenging questions throughout the year, not just prior to the test. We're using IXL as our diagnostic tool, so I'm glad you said that, Laura. We're trying to ramp up that process too, and continually send out emails to our teachers to set our expectations where we want kids to be able to meet or at least attain two skills per week, or some teachers have even set like a time goal for students to work on it now too. So we're trying to build that consistency across the entire building. We've been partnering with consultants from the IU for ELA and from Patan for math this year, which they've been extremely helpful, providing professional development to both of those departments, and not just ELA. We've been pulling in other content areas to receive the support and make sure that there's some consistency across different curriculum too. And then also pacing, and you'll hear this later too. Especially for math, like one of the challenges for being a small school is when you're in a bigger school and you have multiple teams of teachers, right? They'll have a pacing guide, and they make sure that they're kind of on pace with each other and have a lot of conversation. When we have one math teacher per grade, you're in charge of your own pace. So we have to kind of make sure we're meeting with them regularly to see where we're at, where should you be at, and what are some of the challenges of making sure that we're maintaining the appropriate pace within the program. And then continuity of program as well. So we've met and found out that while we're all teaching the same program, there are different approaches to what assessments we're giving, which ones we're not giving. Some feel some of them are pretty lengthy and are taking away from the instructional part. And we are trying to make sure that we have continuity and practice within the programming. So the next chart is our math data. You'll see that it looks pretty good. Again, they're getting closer together like Kelly mentioned, and we're kind of increasing performance as the years go on. That's for all subgroups too. So this next chart is not by cohort, but it is how each grade is performing. So you'll look at the top row is our 5th grade, then it goes 6th grade, 7th grade, 8th grade. So if you look across, you'll see how our students are performing from year to year in that grade. It's not the cohort. So when you see that we're making gains or we'll see a decrease of 1% in that grade from last year to this year, it's not the same group of kids, right? So to us, we want to see whether there's consistent growth within the grade level and also whether that cohort is making the appropriate growth. Because this chart will tell us that if we're maintaining growth within grade level, then something's working with our curriculum and our programming. And if we're looking at the cohort, there's another chart like this too that shows how the cohorts do from year to year. We want to make sure that they're also maintaining growth and that we're moving kids from below basic up to basic. So the data is strong.
Yeah, I like this one, right? I like all the green over there. And I mean, if you look just at the below basics, that's really pretty amazing. In every single grade, that percentage from 5 years ago to now is down significantly. So it really, I think, is a testament, to some good work we're doing and buy-in from the teachers, right? They're the ones who have to implement it, and they appear to be doing it. And, while we have room to go, I finally feel like that ship is turning in the right way in the middle school.
Well, and we're at a point now, I feel like we can kind of pinpoint some areas.
Yeah.
Rather than looking at it holistically, what do we need to focus on at tier 1? Mm-hmm. We have intervention in place for tier 2. We're looking at smaller pockets that we're trying to figure out why we're not seeing the growth in those pockets. So we're at a good place right now.
Mm-hmm. Can I ask a question about math specifically? I know there's advanced math. When does that start? Does that start 5th grade?
7th grade.
7th grade? And is it just advanced math and everybody else is?
Yeah, so in 7th grade, there is the 7th grade core curriculum, and then we have an accelerated math class that students get placed into off of the criteria that are in the handbook.
Has there been discussion about moving back to a tracking model? And putting kids in different levels so that it can be more, I mean, I understand all of the, rigmarole around that, but, it's from a teaching perspective, right? It's hard to teach, especially math, when you've got one group of kids that's up here, even in 6th grade, and one group that's kind of down there.
We sort of started doing that. I wouldn't call it homogeneous grouping.
Yeah.
I would call it closer heterogeneous grouping. Because like you mentioned, what we found when we were starting to do our scheduling is that we had the grade span between ability was quite wide.
Yeah.
Right? So we tried to narrow that a little bit within groupings in 7th and 8th grade. So we tried to do that. If you're asking for a different curriculum, different groups.
I'm not asking for anything in particular. It's just, in math especially, it's all skill-based, right? And it builds on itself. So, a kid that is missing certain skills is not going to be able to move on to the next step. And when you have a class where some of the kids have all of these skills up here and kids in the same class are way down here, it's where do you aim for, We've
been pretty strategic, and I will say that our intervention is going to help in that area because we are trying to determine which pockets of kids might benefit from working on those prerequisite skills. They're going to help on what's happening right now in math. So we have programming that helps us identify that.
Great.
And then we have kids that are receiving some pull-out instruction and are getting that, we're beefing that up and giving them additional practice with support to make sure that they have that understanding or that baseline understanding so that they can be successful in the core curriculum. Mm-hmm. We're doing some of that work already.
Good.
We'll see, hopefully it pays off. I think it will. I think we have
person
doing it.
Oh, yeah. Mr. Posh is awesome.
Yeah, he's on top of it. He has a great process that we meet regularly to talk about, and I'm hoping that we see the gains. I'm pretty certain we will.
I'm excited to see it too.
We're also piloting a Tier 2 intervention with some of our special education students, and depending on that, that's another. There are other options, but we're just starting to get our arms wrapped around intervention, and we've done some work with algebra tiles this year with Patton, and basically making math as visual and concrete as we can. And so, it's this ebb and flow between strengthening core curriculum and then working on, small groups of students and what that pull-out looks like for them.
I will say, too, also trying to find additional time. So intervention is finding additional time. I mean, we look at across the board, not just for a small pocket of kids, but we realize when digging into the data farther, we would find that that we can't have kids that have a large gap in ability, between, and then also give them the same amount of time as everybody else and expect them to close that gap. So we had to find additional time within the day and look at additional resources and sometimes alternate approaches, things like that, to help them close that gap. So I think what we're seeing in the below basic category, all the decrease there and kids moving up is just dividends from the work that we're putting in at doing those things we just mentioned.
We have some final highlights. The 8th graders, we have one class of 8th graders that takes the Algebra 1 Keystone. This year was a real success. We had 84% of those students scored proficient or advanced, which was a 14% increase over last year. Again, different groups of kids, so that may or may not be indicative of what we'll see in the future. But 53% of the kids scored advanced, and that's really exciting. They didn't just pass it, but the really strong math students that are now in 9th grade. So, as we hit in the high school and we talk about, some of the areas we're working on, just, that's a very good sign of the students moving there. And 8th grade, 84% of the students scored medium or high on a TDA. So very few of the kids scored low. They weren't red. So we've worked on this, so now we know where we are. There are some other areas in ELA that, need some attention. But when you look at 7th grade and 6th grade, we have very few kids in below basic. We're talking single percentages. So our kids have skills. We just need to strengthen their comprehension or their written expression to help them move over to proficiency. When we opened our PVOS report for the middle school and the elementary school, I can tell you it was very satisfying because it was very blue. So even in areas where we took a dip in an area, when you looked at their PVOS report, in many cases, it was very, very blue. We had a lot of success last year. So thank you to these guys. I think this kind of captures, we're still going to work on behavior, still ramping up intervention, still working on pacing, all the things you just heard us say. We're continuing to work on that and continue to improve. Anything else for the middle school? All right. Mrs. Morningstar, Dr. Morningstar? I caught myself. She isn't able to be here tonight, so I am just going to quickly go through her slides.
Just a quick thank you to Ken and Zach, Ken and Rob for the leadership at the middle school as well as the teachers doing the work. A lot of success to share.
So the Keystones replace what was required in legislation about a grade 11 PSSA. So it's different than the PSSA because you can take it again. And there's 2 modules, and you can bank if you pass one module, you don't have to take the whole test again. You just take for the module you didn't pass. So that's different. The PSSA, you go on to the next grade level, and then you take the next, you don't get to go back and say, well, I did it. So this is very different. They can be retaken until proficiency is achieved, and you have until the end of 11th grade to do so. We do them twice a year. We do them winter for retakes, and then we do a spring. The big assessment is in the spring. And I guess just a reminder that the Keystones aren't just a test. They are part of the pathway to graduation. There are multiple graduation pathways, and having Keystone, good scores on your Keystones is 3 of the 5 pathways. So that's just, important to note. Here, this year, you'll notice that biology is not shown, and there's a reason why Ken didn't talk about science. This year was a baseline assessment, and so they don't share those scores. So this year, there's no score to share. There's no score to share, but it is setting the baseline for next year. And actually, we were surprised at the biology Keystone because that wasn't a completely new test. They embedded field test items for the new test, but there was still the current, the old standards assessment. But I learned today, actually, that the reason why it wasn't published is because there's many schools in the state that have a junior, senior high, and it would be too difficult to disaggregate all of that information and confusing, maybe even for the public to understand what it really represented. So they chose not to show it at all and just say, this is a waiver for this year. To not share it. But ELA is green over here, and we have 75% of our students scoring proficient or advanced on the literature Keystone. And for math, we're at 34.6%, and like the middle school, we're getting there, but we are not past that state average. We're not above that yet, so that's still something we're working for. This chart will just show you the dotted line is the state average. So the red is the literature. You can see we're quite a bit above the state average. That's a strength for us. Blue is algebra, so you can see we're below. In science, we are below. Heather has this below the state average. I got some information today that I thought it was different. So we just have to get together and collaborate and figure out which number is the right one to look at. But my number says we're better. We're about at the state average. So we'll see what fleshes out there. This is looking at different subgroups. You can see our all student group is moving up for ELA, and Hispanic went down. And then our other groups, including economically disadvantaged, combined ethnicity, students with disability, and white students all increased. Likewise on math, we saw a downturn from last year, the assessment, which was a surprise to us because if you remember, we put in the foundations class, and so we were thinking that the kids who had foundations and then would take this class, we'd have a stronger showing than we did. So I don't know that we've quite figured out why our theory of action didn't work, but we didn't see as much growth as we were hoping for. Although I will tell you that they met the growth standards. So we did have a win in that we hit the growth standard, but we didn't kind of get everybody across the proficiency line like we had hoped. So this growth standard here, this is we've consecutive years for our ELA. 100 doesn't mean 100% improvement. It means, I wish it did. But it is saying that students grew more than they were predicted to grow. So they take all of the data that they have about students and they say how much they think they're going to go. And all this means is they grew more than expected. And for MET means they grew what they expected. So that for us is good. Kids grew what they expected. They just didn't help to close the gap yet because they didn't grow more than expected. So yeah, well above. The percent of students who scored advanced on the literature exam is above the state average. And I don't remember how many years it's been since we've been above the state average, but this caught my eye that this year we did. We met for algebra, and it was well above for biology, so I can tell you that because it comes from another report. Even though I can't share a score with you, at least definitively, they were blue. They were very blue, and so we had students that demonstrated exceeding the growth standard. When I looked back, and I did a look back between 21 and 25, our literature keystone has been above or well above 4 out of the 5 times. So over those 5 administrations, those 5 classes, those 11th grade classes, 4 out of 5 times we've been above or well above, and the other year we met. Algebra, we're at meets expectations. That's the first time we've had meets expectations since 2021. And if actually the dots in the report line straight up. So what I'm hoping is that we had a dip and now we're back to meet expectations and we see continued growth. But again, we'll have to take the long view on that and see if that bears out. Biology, we've been above or well above 3 out of the 5 of the last years. So again, and we were met the other 2 years. So showing some consistency in results. Yes, sorry.
There's probably better scientific ways to do this, but the current cohort that was tested that did extremely well didn't do as great if you look back in the middle school. Was there any change is there something unique happening in the high school in English language arts that really?
Well, it was COVID.
Okay.
Right. So COVID had a lot to do with where students performed. In the elementary, we were able to keep most of the classes in person for at least half that year. But at the middle school and the high school, because of the social distancing requirements, we did online, if you remember. And there were a lot of students, what's that?
Hybrid.
Yeah, we did a hybrid approach. We had to do a hybrid approach. We really tried in the middle school to make that work, and it just didn't work.
Middle school, they came every day. High school was hybrid.
The middle school's online too.
Okay.
All right. Well,
We'll argue about
it wasn't the best. It wasn't the best situation. And so it might be time. It just might be back to routines. We'd have to go student by student to kind of get a better sense of that. But those are the big things that come to my mind of being contextual factors.
No, there's an impressive jump with the current cohort to where they were if you line it back up.
And again, the literature keystone you get to take multiple times. So this might be just, they have more time to reach that skill set than they did in middle school. So we obviously are continuing to work on algebra and foundations. We just did some professional development with Patton. We pulled in the high school. They were looking forward to it. The Patton grant paid for algebra tiles for 3 of our teachers, and that they are being used at the high school as well as the middle school. And then biology, we are transitioning to new standards. So this year we'll set our baseline, and from there we're going to continue to learn and figure out where we end up on that continuum and how we can continue to improve. So that's it on the education front. We just have a few slides, if that's all right, Carol. I'll just go through them quickly. Just a couple of updates. We have some programs of studies, revisions, revised courses. I've shared with you personal finance, but Life Smarts, the career side of Life Smarts, was also going to be a standalone half-credit class, which we're calling Career Exploration and Readiness. There are new career education standards. We are recommending we combine digital imaging and photography. That was one class. They were two separate classes, and we're now combining them for various reasons. And we've got, the English department has been working on new electives. They've been surveying the students, and they have new electives, and that will replace Introduction to Theater, which would be discontinued as being offered. We don't think all three, we don't know that all three of those electives will run. The courses that have the highest interest from students, those will be run. And if you're interested in looking at those course descriptions, there's a link there. We had an English learner celebration, so Mr. Brem and our English our ELL teachers had that night, and if you see picture 2 with that long table with a lot of food on it, that was all of our families and our staff providing food. So it was a great event where we had students participating and helping to do activities and even translate. There you see one student down here who's translating for a teacher into Spanish. So it was a great event. On November 4th, we're a polling location, and so we use that as a professional learning day. We had multiple presenters in from the Workforce Investment Board, from the Lehigh Valley Economic Corporation, from the IU, from LCTI, and we focus on those new career to work standards, and we had sessions. I think the big takeaway from me is, if you see here, at the end we asked our teachers, did the things you heard today about what students need to thrive and be successful after high school, how does that reflect does it reflect our profile of a graduate? Like, do they align? And as you can see, that's like the highest rate to a survey I've had in some time. We had 89 responses and almost a 98% agreement that, yeah, these are things that kids need to know and will help them be successful. The 2% that said no actually said, well, I didn't really see like ongoing growth, on being an ongoing learner be reflected anywhere here. And, it was fair enough. It was a good support. Some other PD that we've been doing, I mentioned algebra tiles, but we're working on other things with elementary for making learning concrete in mathematics, as well as Dr. Jacoby and Attorney Roddick, yes, who will be coming in. They led writing a legally defensible IEPs with our teachers. And what was nice about that is they were able to pull all of our special education teachers together to kind of have some common frameworks for how they move forward with those documents. We also did some AI pieces, as well as Ken mentioned structured literacy. That's a requirement and items that are in our comprehensive plan that we provide to teachers. So that was done. Just an update on state testing. We're going to be administering the Keystones online for the retakes, because it's a requirement in the spring, and we want to get in there early and figure out how that all works before the larger participation in the spring. And that's it.
Okay, thank you. A lot of information to think about and delve into, and it's available. Look at any of these links and course descriptions, you can go in and look at it. Is there any old business?
Not old business, but new business.
I'm going to that next. New business.
Okay, so I guess I need to report that I was elected to 2 positions. So I'm going to decline the 2 and accept the 4-year position. And that's why we're interviewing somebody at the next meeting, so thank you.
Not the next meeting,
At the next, okay, the meeting in December.
Yes.
December 3rd.
Exactly.
Any other old or new business? With that said, we do have several citizen comments this evening, and we will call you up in the order that we received your names. So first up, Madeline Dillard.
Was this turned off? Is it on?
Yep.
It's good. Perfect. Hello, my name is Madeline Dilliard, and I'm a senior at Salisbury High School. I've lived in the district since 3rd grade, and I came to the last school board meeting to discuss an inequitable education situation occurring in the high school. I'm addressing the same situation today because I've not heard or received any response from the district so far. To briefly recap what's going on, a policy you guys have created to establish this class around a month and a half ago. While investigating the situation, I was mistreated by my principal, being called, quote, snotty and demanding, end quote, in a meeting with her and my school counselor. I'd like to state again that my school counselor sat in on this meeting and listened to everything that was being said. If I were on the school board, the first thing I would do is fact check and investigate everything that's being said, which would include talking to myself, the principal, the school counselor, the superintendent, and anyone else involved. To my knowledge, both myself and my school counselor have not been asked anything about the situation. Since then, when discussing the situation with my friends, it was brought to my attention that something similar has occurred in the past. I'm about to get technical, so stay with me. If you're not aware, certain classes have certain weights that get reflected in a student's NGA or their numeral grade average. Most classes, like a college prep or regular class, have no percent weight, so the grade you get in the class is the grade that's reflected in your NGA. Honors classes have a 5% weight, and then APs have a 10% weight. Dual enrollment classes, if you sign up for the credit, have a 5% weight unless they are an honors or an AP, and then you get the weight that goes with that assignment. As I stated earlier, independent studies do not count towards a student NGA, which ties in directly to the current situation. Because the situation has dragged on for over a month and a half, it feels both disrespectful to myself and to my statistics teacher to drop the course now. I've had to settle and register for an L-Tri-C 3-credit Intro to Probability and Statistics class to ensure that I receive some of the college credit I was originally hoping for. This, however, is not an option for everyone, as some students cannot learn in an online setting, something you guys just discussed in COVID. So referring back to COVID times, many students had to be manually passed because they could not learn in an online setting. Online classes, Salisbury's dual enrollment is a perfect solution for these students as they're taking the class in a Salisbury classroom, but still can sign up for the college credit because they're learning at that same level. Online classes like L-Tri-C or Cedar Crest College, which I'll talk about soon, are fully structured online classes. Also, Cedar Crest College, the class that I signed up for, is only 3 credits, while Moravian dual enrollment was 4. To top it all off, Cedar Crest College, the top college that I want to go to, is in a partnership with Moravian University through their Lehigh Valley Association of Independent Colleges, or LVAIC. Because of this, Moravian dual enrollment would direct transfer more likely than compared to L-Tri-C's credit. but colleges in general are more willing to accept a university credit compared to a community college credit. To continue to discuss about Cedar Crest College, I briefly mentioned last time I was here about my principal setting up a partnership with Cedar Crest College for a potential dual enrollment opportunity for the high school. Because spring semester for college is so near, registration has already began for many online classes. Since our meeting with my principal over a month ago, I've heard nothing about this partnership being established at all. Nor have the school counselors, whose jobs are to help students discover and use these resources to the best of their abilities. How can they do their jobs if they're not sure what partnerships we have and how these will allow our students to grow? As I mentioned previously, I believe this option was introduced to entice me away from continuing to look into this situation. When reading the agenda for today's school board meeting, I saw item 2.4, which is a motion to approve a revised agreement with Salisbury and Moravian University. I find the timing of this revision to be very ironic, but while reading through the agreement, my eyes fell on item 4A, which states that any changes to a dual enrollment course, like curriculum or evaluation methods, need to be submitted to the university in writing for approval. Please take these questions into consideration before approving the revised agreement tonight. To wrap up, according to PA Title 22, Chapter 32, Section 1B and 2, institutions need to, quote, provide equal opportunity in admissions and treatment of students, in educational programs for students, end quote, and so on. This code is typically referred to as the Equal Opportunity of Education Law, or code, meaning that all public schools must provide equal opportunity and access to educational programs. This would include dual enrollment opportunities and independent studies. To summarize, if one has the option, it is law that all students should as well. I respectfully request that the school board gives a public response regarding the ongoing situation and what the district plans to do to resolve it. This situation cannot be continued to be swept under the rug. It is simply unfair and unjust for the 45 students who are being left out of an opportunity for college credit, which was originally promised to them in the 2025 to 2026 program of studies. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next up, Jennifer Dillard.
Don't worry, mine's shorter, slightly less dry. Love you. Good evening, I'm Jen Dilliard, Salisbury alum, class of '99. I must admit, tonight's a proud mom moment. When your kid knows the difference between right and wrong, when she sees an injustice and continues to stand up for what's right, even when she specifically has been given a solution. That's a pretty cool kid. I'm going to take you on a little trip down memory lane. My husband and I used to play a game of That's Me when Maddie was little. Whenever she'd do or say something that was a direct reflection of one of our personalities, we would claim it. Her determined investigation into this matter, that's me. I'm the journalist in the family. Her temperament, that's Jay. I tell you this story to say that she probably went into that meeting with her principal and guidance counselor emotionally charged. But that doesn't mean that she gets to be called names. It's obviously a sensitive subject, especially after being told Was Mads wrong to be overly emotional? Possibly. Was the principal wrong to call names? Probably. What my child didn't tell you in her lengthy speech is that both SHS faculty and staff came up to her after she spoke at that last school board meeting and congratulated her, literally shook her hand for simply bringing to light the injustice that happened in the high school. It's nice to know those teachers have her back. What she also did not say, and what we in the news business called burying the lead, you'll notice I did it here tonight too, but I know you guys are all smart and can do the math. Now, this fact makes me question not only her ethical choices, but that of the board. Did you guys know one of your own was abusing her power? I know a few of you personally, and I know you'd never do that. But I'll tell you right now, sure isn't a good look for the board. Just imagine what the general public would have to say about that. Maybe that election 2 weeks ago would have turned out differently. That's why you may see my name come up for that empty board seat. I would like to ensure that every student in the district gets an equal education, gets to take classes at the level they signed up for, and to, quite frankly, prevent more corruption in this room. I guarantee you, we'll be back month after month. You'll get tired of us. Because this little girl over here, she's honorable, that's him, and tenacious, that's me. My hope is that stirring the pot a little bit tonight gets your attention. Have a good night.
Thank you, Mrs. Dillard. Next up, Dennis Engel.
Yes, Mr. President, thank you for your time. I have two really short comments. First comment is in review. I understand the importance of a healthy budget reserve. I understand the importance in the need for one. I also understand the comprehensive plan and the needs of the district. Though in reviewing the numbers, it looked to me like maybe it was 40 or 48, I don't know, I forget, 40% in reserves in the budget. I'll just note that the State Auditor General indicated a healthy budget reserve for a school district is 20%. And I'll just add that it's a hard ask for taxpayers to spend more than 20% is a reasonable, fair number, I think. My opinion. Look at my own personal budget. I can never get there. But I think the important thing to mention here is that it's a hard ask for taxpayers to support, more than the 20% benchmark that's been established by the state. The second point I have is kind of a personal pet peeve, and some of my neighbors has had the same issue. Because of the budget situation in the state and the school district not getting the money, I wanted to make partial installment payments based on my budget. However, the tax collector sent me the check back and said, and some other people said the same thing to me too, sent the check back and said we don't take partial payments. And you have to do this, it has to be all at once or in the three huge installment amounts. And it's not a big deal, but I only suggest that in terms of cash flow for the district, in terms of getting the money earlier, faster, and I was informed there was it was a law, and I'm not sure where the law comes from, or where it comes from the district, or if it comes from the township. But it would be nice if there was that would be changed so there was some flexibility, so citizens can help out. In those situations, and also, again, would improve your cash flow and you get your money faster. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Engel. Okay, so with that is the last section for that meeting. So we will take a 10-minute break, and we'll be back for the regular board meeting after that. Our next...
I just have one comment. I just want to follow up to Maddie and Maddie, you specifically. I actually reached out again to Cedar Crest for the MOU on Monday, and was told they're still working on it. So we are actively pursuing that, and there is an update of what's happening with that.
Okay, so our next meeting is November 19th for our next next curriculum meeting, and we, what? Oh, geez. Well, somebody put that on here, it says November 19th. It's January sometime. I'll get that date and get it to you in the next meeting. I don't know. I'm just reading what they put in front of me. Anyway, so we'll adjourn this meeting. We'll be back in roughly 10 minutes. All right, thank you. Take two. So I'd like to welcome everybody to the November 19th, 2025 regular board meeting. I'd like to call this meeting to order. Pursuant to Board Policy 1B.5, all meetings of Salisbury Township School District are audio and video recorded. For this meeting, we did have, before the meeting before this, we had an executive session for the purpose of conversations regarding litigation and board goals. And with that said, I'd like to have a roll call.
Mr. Gaither.
Here.
Mrs. Glenister.
Here.
Mr. Ganal.
Here.
Mr. Hoffman.
Here.
Mrs. Klinger.
Here.
Mrs. McKelvey.
Here.
Mrs. Nemitz.
Here.
Mr. Riccaboni.
Here.
Mr. Spinner.
Here.
All present.
All right. So this evening, can I have a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Any changes or additions to the agenda this evening? All right, seeing none, we'll move right into citizen inquiries and comments for this meeting this evening. And we do have one. Mr. Siegel, the mic is yours.
Good evening, everyone.
You can pull the mic up so you're not like...
I'm going to smack myself in the face here.
Don't
all right.
do that.
All right, that's a little better. Okay, so I originally intended to make this comment at the previous meeting. However, I was downstairs. My daughter, she's in wrestling, so I came a little late. But I was able to get here on time for this. So what I want to do is I want to just give a shout out to Mr. Brem, who's not here anymore. He took time out of his very busy day as a principal of an elementary school to talk with me for over an hour about the concerns I brought up last time at the meeting about the screen time. And I just want to go on record that that is so very appreciated. It could not have been a more productive conversation, and for somebody to take that amount of time out of a school day because it was during school hours, it was very much appreciated. I would also like to shout out Lynn. Thank you very much for the work you did in looking into the screen time monitoring. I really appreciate that. I know this stuff isn't easy, so thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Siegel. All right, so we'll move into the rest of the agenda this evening. Could I have a motion to approve the following minutes? And those are the regular board meeting from October 15th, Ops and Finance Committee from November 5th.
So moved.
Second. Any questions? All in favor? Aye. Aye. Opposed? All right, thank you. Payment of the bills. So tonight we have general fund, food service, student activities funds, laptops, capital project funds, and 2 bond proceed funds. Can I have a motion to pay the bills?
So moved.
Second.
Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Thank you. All right, treasurer's report. So we have treasurer's report from October of 25, the investments, expenditure review of October, and also the capital account breakdown for October. Can I have a motion to approve the treasurer's report?
So moved.
Second.
Any questions? All in favor? Aye. Opposed?
Nay.
Nay. All right. Thank you very much. Report from the Secretary of the Board.
Okay, I have a few things to cover. As you all know, the budget was finally passed. Looking at what the district will receive compared to what we budgeted, basic ed, we are going to receive $11,572 more than what we budgeted, so we were almost spot on that. Special ed, we had budgeted $1,218,000. That is exactly what was approved in the budget, so there was no increase. What was in the governor's original budget was the exact amount that was approved for special ed for the allocations. A big change is in our Ready to Learn. We received a $50,000 adequacy bump in that. The Ready to Learn amount has not been increased since the 2015-2016 school year, so this is a major thing here. So compared to what we budgeted to what we received, we have $61,000 more than what we budgeted. There's also a big component regarding charter school and the PD 363 and how we fund it. There are no answers right now as to how it's going to affect us, what kind of savings we're going to recognize, as PD has not issued the new PD 363 template form, and our software provider, CSIU, is working on updating their report that pulls the data the way it's needed. On Friday, I'll be attending a user group meeting with that. I'll have more information on that, but I'm looking forward to seeing how that all fleshes out too. On a second note regarding property tax appeals that I had discussed with you all, there was one large property that went before the assessment board that they were asking for. The appraised value was about $1.7 million. They were requesting $1.1 million. Jonathan from Kingsbury was there to represent us, provided information as to why that's not valid. It was approved at $1.5 million. So instead of a loss of $13,000 in revenue, it would be a loss of $6,000. And the Board of Assessment Appeals did not make that active until July 1st, so it does not affect our current year. It'll be for the next year taxing. And on a good note for the moment, the 5 commercial professional park office buildings that went, Mr. Herrera did a really great job representing us. Not one of them was approved. They were all stayed at what their assessed value was, but we're waiting for the shoe to drop for the appeal to come in and for them to go back for a second round and try, but he'll be ready to fight for our funding on that as well. So, and that's all that I have for you this evening.
Thank you very much. So, curriculum technology, Mrs. Klinger.
Okay, I have to move items 2.1 through 2.6. 2.1 and 2.2 is a Learn Well agreement to provide services for 2 of our students for 10 hours per week. 2.3 is the affiliation with Moravian University for 3 years. 2.4 is a revised dual enrollment with Moravian University from July 1st, 25 through June 30th of 26. 2.5 is a student teacher from Moravian University who is being approved to work with Ann Ruiz at the high school from January through April of 26. And 2.6 is an overnight trip for the wrestling team to go to Chambersburg, Pennsylvania, December 26th through the 28th for a wrestling tournament. May I have a second, please?
Second.
Any questions? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, thank you.
All right. We'll move into Operations Committee. Mr. Spinner, you're with us virtually, I hear you.
All right. Yes. Good evening, everyone. Greetings from Cortez, Colorado. Tonight on the agenda, we have 2 items. Item 3.1 about the solar boilerplate agreements, and item 3.2 per capita increases. Before I move item 3.1, I wanted to give the administration a couple seconds here to provide an update on the current works with the legal teams on the boilerplate agreements.
Okay, I'll speak in regard to that. What you have in front of you are the templates, what will be filled in as soon as McClure sets up an LLC and does the final number calculations on the exact panels, what the rates will be. All the information will be filled in on there. This is just giving them the authorization to proceed on their behalf to, continue with the measurements and getting all of the numbers finalized. In regards to the agreements, we do have several issues between McClure's legal and our legal counsel that are still being worked on. So at this present moment, we are not giving authorization to do the solar, but we're giving authorization for them to continue with their next steps to finalize everything on their behalf of it. So that's all this is for everybody's review of the agreements.
Thank you, Don. I appreciate the update. So at this time, I'd like to move items, I'll move them individually here. Item 3.1 for the boilerplate agreements. And again, we're looking to approve McClure to continue to move forward with the process subject to legal review, which may include establishment of an LLC and receipt of file numbers and continued contract negotiations. Notwithstanding the foregoing, the district makes no promise that a final agreement will be entered into. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, are there any questions? Hearing none. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And I'm an aye as well. At this time, I'll move item 3.2 for the per capita tax increases. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And I'm an aye as well. And that's all we have for operations tonight.
Thank you very much, Mr. Spinner. Mr. Riccaboni, Finance Committee.
Sure. Item 4.1, the Act 1 index resolution. The state of Pennsylvania limits how much we can increase the taxes with the Act 1 index. By adopting this, we we assert that we will not raise taxes beyond the maximum allowed by the Act 1 index. So, do we have any questions? Oh, okay, I guess I'd like to officially move 4.1. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that's all. Thank you.
And that takes us to personnel, Mrs. McKelvey.
Yeah, we have just a few items. The employment of 2 new members to our custodial staff, and then a number of coach employments and a few resignations. So marching band, swimming, more marching band, more swimming, wrestling, and then baseball and football resignations. So that's all we have today. So I'd like to move items 5.1 through 5.12.
Second.
Thank you. Any questions?
Can I make a quick comment?
I don't know, Tom, maybe.
It'll be fast. No, I just wanted to, again, thank Coach Trask for his work over the past 2 years with the football team. Having the chance to work with him personally, it was an honor, and I appreciate all the work he's done for the team.
Okay. Anything else? All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I am also an aye. Any opposed? Thank you.
All righty then. We'll move right into Policy Committee and Mrs. Glenister.
Yes, and as usual, we're doing a lot of them. So we have for final reading and adoption, Policy 102, a couple 100s, and then a 200, some 300s, and a bunch of 600s. So I'd take a motion to approve the policies listed.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Any questions or comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay, motion passes. And then item 6.2 is a first reading, also a lot. So we're starting at 6:09 and going up to 6:26. Does anybody have any questions or comments on those? Okay, keep getting through them. Thank you very much. That's all I have.
Thank you, Mrs. Glenister, and we'll move into the student activities report. I thank our students for doing the bulk of the work earlier, but we have two items to move tonight. 7.1, the high school student activity advisors and student representatives for 25-26, and 7.2 is the middle school student activity advisors and student representatives for 25-26. So I will move 7.1 and 7.2. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any questions? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? All right. So that takes us to our report section. The CLIU, Mrs. McKelvey.
A few notes. At our most recent meeting, which was Monday, we did have a presentation about we've taken two of our programs, which one is like a behavioral support program, and another is an autistic support program. They were kind of different locations. They've brought them together in the same building in Center Valley, which, given the students that they're serving, is a better location. More kids will be closer. And it's nice because some of these kiddos with some behavioral needs are able to interact with the kids that are autistic, and it's really benefiting both groups. They basically, whoever they're renting the building from, totally gutted it and rebuilt it and build it back up according to their standards. So it seems to be going well. We had some feedback from the Southern Lehigh board member, because it's in her district, and, everything she's heard has been really positive about that. So that was exciting to hear. Also, we had a quick overview of our general operating budget. This will come up here a little bit later this year. This is the portion of the IU's budget that school districts are required to pay. And it basically goes, there was a slight change from years prior, but it goes entirely to curriculum and instruction. So providing resources, a lot of resources really to teachers and to districts. So it looks like initially our contribution is going to be a little bit less again than it was last year. Parkland is going up, and most of the other districts are going down. They use kind of a percentage, some sort of model, and they plug everybody in there. So, that's all I have.
All righty. Thank you very much. LCTI, Mrs. Nemitz, are you with us?
Yes, I am here, and I have no report this evening.
Sam is here.
Sam, I'm sorry I missed you.
That's okay, no problem. I knew you'd get back to me sooner or later, Joe.
I circled your name so I wouldn't miss you, and it looks like I X'd it out, so I thought I had to skip that. So the moral of the story is don't trust my penmanship. So go ahead, Sam. What's going on at LTRC?
All right. Well, we had meetings on the November the 6th and November the 17th. At our meetings, we reviewed head count for the winter, which and the hours. 4 weeks before the session starts, we are minus 6.4% on head and 3.1 on hours. And generally, in the winter session, we don't really get a lot of dual enrollment, hence why that's that way. Plus, we're 4 weeks away. It's a fairly long time, and we've seen a surge in applications for both winter and spring. So we're cautiously optimistic that will change. The spring session, 11 weeks away, we're at minus 0.6% on head and 6.3% on hours. That is because more dual enrollment that keeps continuing to grow. And we found that some of our full-time students are taking less credits as well. We did review the budget, which was flat by the state, but this is what we already were budgeting for and had it into our budget. This is a challenge, though, because we are seeing flat student participation and rising cost in healthcare, dramatically so this year. This is testing our ability to continue to hold the line, and we may have to pass along these costs to our students. In addition, next year's budget, what we're hearing from our colleagues in Harrisburg is going to be much worse than this year. Lower funding, and it will cause several institutions in our area and throughout Pennsylvania to close. There was, and I sent it on to Lynn, a really awesome article in Sunday's Morning Call about the universities. Title was How Higher Education Powers the Lehigh Valley. I like a numbers guy, so I'll give you the numbers, but there's a really great read. And like I said, I gave it to Lynn for each of you to read. It's a short read and a good one. Higher education supports over 15,800 jobs in the Lehigh Valley. 2.2 billion in annual economic impact, including $119 million paid in state and local tax revenues. Lehigh Valley, Joe, you like this? Lehigh University alone has reported 1.4 billion in compensated economic impact, and is 3.1% of the region's total output, which is roughly around $55 billion. There is much more within this article talking about the culture and the universities being part of our everyday lives. So I encourage everyone to give that a read, as unfortunately a lot of what universities do and whatnot are going to be changing as we go forward. And once these institutions are gone, they're not coming back. And that's my report. Any questions?
I did read I read that article, Sam. I thought it was well written.
Yes, extremely so. I think that the person who wrote that does a lot better job than I can in explaining the value that all the universities bring to the Lehigh Valley. So thank you, Joe. You have a good one.
You too. All right. Mrs. Glenister, PSBA Legislative Policy Council.
Yes, I have a few things. I was reading through some articles. It was really interesting, something about AI, where they said, like, more educators are getting complaints from parents they suspect were written by AI, which apparently take more time for the legal team to look at. And they just said it's like, let's say it said it takes, cause school and district staff to sink hours of time into responding to what might normally only take a few minutes. One superintendent estimated the complaints that once might have taken 15 minutes to review and respond to can now take 3 to 4 hours of staff time, not counting a lawyer's time, depending. So they're using, like, it's just, I thought that was interesting. Like, if you look at, PSBA sent a link to that article. Another one I thought it was interesting, that a lot of, it says schools have special educators but keep losing them to general ed. So a lot of, you probably know this, a lot of special ed teachers come in, they maybe get an emergency certification or whatever in that position. They end up leaving and going to a general ed position. But I guess Pennsylvania is doing something which is nice, where they're having a statewide program to build specialty teachers' career pathways and having like role-based mentoring programs to try and keep people in that position. So that was interesting. You probably saw too that they were having a committee meeting about considering no cell phones in schools in Pennsylvania. Yeah, which was also fascinating.
From bell to bell, basically.
Right. So I don't know where that'll end up, but we're already doing some of that where you know.
Well, students do still have access to them. It's not the same.
Yeah, this would be like strict, I guess, what they were talking about. Yeah. And as usual, PSBA has a lot of webinars, mostly webinars, some in person if anybody's interested. One's on social media for school boards. That's coming up on November 21st. It's a virtual webinar. One about how SCOTUS, the Supreme Court of the U.S., is shaping school law this term. That's in December. And then there's another one, there's an AI event that you can join in exploring the real-world integration of AI in K-12 education. So they do offer, I try to take advantage of some of them, but they do offer some interesting seminars if you check out their website. That's my report.
All righty. Attorney Roddick.
Hello. I do have something for you tonight.
Wow.
So, beginning January 5th of 2026, the school district is now going to be required to notify parents and certain school personnel of incidents when a student is in possession of a weapon on school property. Currently, you do have to report to law enforcement, you have to report to PDE, but now, again, January 5th of 2026, within 24 hours of the incident, in a method that is likely to reach parents, guardians, and school employees, you need to notify them when a student is in possession of a weapon or an adult is in possession of a weapon in that school. So it expands our reporting responsibilities.
I've already drafted those letters, and building leaders have them, templates at least, that can be customized.
Alrighty then. Annette? Are we skipping the last thing?
You want to skip it?
No, that's all right. Superintendent's report.
I can be super fast. Starting with a thank you for our school psychologist as we celebrate School Psychology Week. A thank you to our emergency partners who helped us with our chemical spill last week. Celebrating attendance, strong attendance at all 3 buildings for the month of October with an average of 93%. 94.86 at the elementary, 95 at the middle school, and 93% at the high school. So that's pretty strong. We did some food tastings with kids, some information about bus patrol. This is going to come out in the community update. Interesting items. You already heard about Veterans Day. Added the dates for our winter concerts. That's also going to be in the community update, as is this and that. So that was very fast.
Wow.
That was a lightning round.
That was
it's
lightning.
9:33. I mean, it is past my bedtime now. Seriously.
All right. So any new business?
So just a quick thank you. We know that it's Chris Hoffman's last board meeting tonight, so I want to thank Chris for his faithful service on the board. You were consistently present, engaged, and thoughtful. You listened carefully, took the time to understand the issues, and demonstrated a strong sense of responsibility for our students, staff, and community. We appreciate your commitment to fill that vacancy and the diligence you brought to the process reflected in the seriousness of how you took your role. So grateful for your integrity, your reliability, and quiet dedication. Thank you very much for serving on the school board.
Yeah, I want to thank Chris as well. I've known Chris a long time, and it was not only very helpful to have you on this board, but a lot of fun as well. So thank you, Chris. With that, there's a whole host of other reports here for you to read over at your leisure. And our upcoming meetings, we have our reorganization meeting on Wednesday, December 3rd. That starts at 6 o'clock. Okay, we have our operations and finance on December 3rd as well, following the reorg meeting. And then we have the regular board meeting following that. So it's an all meetings kind of night.
And the reorg meeting time was changed. Just want to highlight that to 6 o'clock to accommodate interviews for the board vacancy.
All righty. So with that said, meeting adjourned.